And we deployed February 15th.
Oh.
So we were there for like maybe 2 months.
Oh, really? So, wow, you got out of SOI and you were at 29 Palms for 2 months before you went to what I've been calling Operation Racket Freedom 2, which was in Huseba. From what I understand, that was actually a pretty big fight.
Right.
Okay.
So I was pretty new in the ways of the Marine Corps.
Okay.
So.
Okay. I remember from earlier interviews you kept referring to you were pretty boot, and I didn't know how boot was. So.
Yeah. I was pretty damn boot.
Okay.
So.
And of course, when we refer to boot, we mean new.
Yeah, boot just basically means you're barely out of training.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not a derogatory term, and in fact, grunts, ground pounders, we're all what we call boots on the deck. You know, we're the guys fighting. So a boot is a new Marine that gets the unit who is barely out of training, and he's a fresh pair of boots to help us fight.
Okay.
So I mean, it's not derogatory; it's just slang.
Okay. Well, what kind of training did you get before you actually went on your first deployment?
My first deployment. Well, hell, when we got to 3-7, the unit was out doing lane training, where they go to different lanes, doing different stuff like ride control stuff. Because what they were building us up for was called SASOS, Security and Stability Operations.
Okay.
And that's basically you come in and wave, be nice. Basically, it's like coin counterinsurgency, only without the insurgents. And so we got a lot of SASO training, stuff like that. And like, since I had no idea what to expect, it was all pretty easy for me. Like, I know when they say go, you go fast, and when they say stop, you stop fast. Basically stuff like that. And when I first got there, they handed me a brand new M16A4, and I was like, what the crap? I heard my drill instructor talk about it one time when we were going through the museum back in, T-Day, whatever. And he's like, we were going through the museum, it shows all the different rifles that the Marine Corps uses, and he says, like, this is the M16A2. What's coming out next is the M16A4, but you guys probably won't see that. And then first thing I get to my unit, they hand me a brand new M16 right out of the crate, still got the packing grease on, and I was like, sweet,
So, new rifle, huh?
Yeah, she's a little worn out now.
Yeah, it's definitely pretty bad shape.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you've taken good care of it, but it's
yeah, but
definitely...
that's definitely not the same rifle. I haven't had the same rifle for 4 years.
Okay.
I mean, if I had, that would be pretty sweet, but...
Well, I get that makes sense, because I recall you were a saw gunner when you went to OF1, OF2, so...
Yeah, but I didn't become... Like, I was a rifleman for the majority of the training. And they made Lance Corporal Nims the saw gunner because he had a higher PFD. Like, he could do like 2 more pull-ups than I could. So he got the saw. Alright, no big deal. Didn't really like, no problem, whatever. And then, let's see, end of January, probably about the beginning of February, we did this range out of American Mines. It's like in 29 Palms, you got main side, which is like really tiny. The rest of the base is just open desert. But there's parts of the base. There's like Emerald Lake, which is a dried up lake, and then there's Blacktop, which is it's really rocky. And American Mines is old mines that we don't play in anymore, but we just go through there. It's since we have so much open desert, we can go out and shoot our guns anywhere and be okay. So,
yeah, because 29 Palms is actually just a huge facility. I mean, it's just very small. I guess it's difficult to understand. It's actually bigger than probably most small countries or whatnot. It's just a huge base.
You could probably sit Rhode Island down in the middle of it and you'd lose it.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I think it was like 120 some odd miles of training land out there, so, and I can't even be sure of actually how much we have, because there's a lot, but that's just what I've been told. But so we're out of American Mines, we're running this range, and just assaulting targets in the open, practice conventional warfare tactics. And squad leader walks up to me and goes, "Hey, Ruckel, can you shoot us off from the Yealing?" And I was like, What are you talking about? He's like, hand me a salt. He's like, shoot from the knee. Like, so I got down to the knee and put the salt on my shoulder and was like, looked at him and was like, is this a joke? He's like, he's like, stand up. And I stood up and he looks at Nims and he goes, you couldn't do that? And Nims is like, well, he goes, you're not a saw gunner. Ruckel, you're a saw gunner. I was like, damn it. You know, I mean, it's an honor to be a saw gunner in the infantry because you're carrying the firepower. But, like, all of a sudden, just like, I have it thrust upon you. You're like, shit. Because I was set up for a rifleman, so I had, you know, like magazine pouches, had nothing to carry saw drums on, so I had to take the saw drums that were still in their pouches and, like, loop them all over me and look like a, you know, Christmas tree running down the range. So that's when I became a saw gunner, and then after that, we got a second drop of boots. Like, as we drove back from the range, Lieutenant Autry jumps up on the back of the truck. You know, we had 1 7-ton with senior Marines all on the benches and all the boots crammed in the middle between the packs, you know, trying to just fit in there, you know, but it was fun, so we didn't care. But he jumps up on the back of the truck and says, hey, we just got a bunch of new drops. You guys don't fuck with them. Like, you know, right. Yeah, just doing his job, and, like, we don't, you know, they're new guys, so, I mean, we play with them, but it's because it's like welcome them to the family, and it's not, we don't let it get out of control. At least I don't.
Okay.
You know, I make sure that everybody's still well-rounded and stuff, but because it's, you know, hell, we're just we're family, you know. So we get back, and you know, all these new Marines come back. They're East Coast Marines, and so I mean, it was weird. And they were actually with
East Coast. You mean that they went to Parris Island?
Yeah.
Okay. And you went to San Diego Marine Corps Recruit Depot.
Yeah, I was Hollywood. They're swamp rats.
Okay, and those are the only 2 boot camps in the Marine Corps.
Right.
Okay.
And they were actually with the unit for about 2 weeks before we deployed, if that. So I mean, they pretty much missed all the good training, and they went bare-assed into the wind. So. And
that was pretty much it for training before you took off?
Yeah, and like, see, we did. Well, the majority, I mean, like, we went to March Air Force Base and did the first round of, like, we were the first unit to go through March Air Force Base and do the SASO training.
Okay.
We even built Firm Base 3 on in March Air Force Base, which is the 3rd little firm base on March Air Force. Like, Lima Company built that shit.
Okay.
You know, so we did that, and other than that, it was just like a few little ranges here and there. Most of it was classwork because we were already doing the workup to leave, and the unit had gotten back in like September. You know, so while I was, you know, in boot camp, they had gotten back from Iraq.
Yeah.
And then went on block leave, and got there, and then did a few training events here and there. Then went on Christmas leave, and then another block training, and then left for Iraq.
Okay. It seems like very little training to go on before leaving. But however, you said you had those other Marines had 2 weeks. So
yeah,
they didn't get anything.
It's not that we had little training, because we had a lot of basic training. Like, go through basic training, you get like everything you need to know to be a Marine, and then you go through infantry school, you learn everything you need to know as an infantry. But as for like working with your senior Marines and stuff like that, like, we didn't have a whole lot of time, you know. But hey, it's the Marine Corps. When they say go, you pack your shit and go.
Okay.
So.
All right. Well, we have another 15 minutes worth of tape. We don't have to fill up by any means, nor do we mean to. Is there anything else you want to add, or that we feel like you perhaps missed from your background, early military training, that you want to share before we end this session?
Not really. I mean, that pretty much covers it.
Okay.
Just being a redneck helps out being in the infantry, so all the rednecks join the infantry.
Okay, good.
So that's pretty much it.
All right, great. All right, well, in here, I think unfortunately I forgot to mention my name again. The interviewer is Doug Halapaskin. Once again, we're here in Ramadi, Iraq at 17th Street.